Okay. Okay, so in this video, I want to go through and kind of look at conservation of energy and show you some examples of conservation of energy. So in this video, I want to go through and show you some examples of conservation of energy and really kind of talk about how we can apply it. So I first want to start off with more of a nutrition health example. Some of you are familiar with Michael Phelps, Olympic swimmer, swam, I think, in the Rio Olympics and then retired and came back and swam in the London Olympics, or vice versa. I forget, or right off the top of my head. I'm sorry, I forget which one. But he swam in one set of Olympics, retired, and then came out of the Olympics. So I want to kind of talk about what he was doing as far as eating. So Michael Phelps would put in approximately 10,000 calories of food. Yes, 10,000. Think about it. Most people are supposed to eat between 1,200 and 2,000, and he would eat 10,000 calories of food a day. Now, what was interesting, so this is his chemical potential energy. And remember, energy is stored. So he puts in 10,000 calories. So either that 10,000 calories are going to get stored or used. So conservation of energy is either going to get stored. So this is going in. So it's going to get stored or it's going to get used. So he would swim and sleep and eat and swim and sleep and eat all day. That was his day. He would swim like 8 hours a day, weightlifting, whatever. So he would use 10,000 calories a day. So he wasn't gaining or losing weight. So the energy he put in was equal to the energy coming out. So he maintained his weight. Now he retired. And if any of you are athletes or former student athletes, you may have experienced this. He mentally was used to putting 10,000 calories into his body. So now, let's say he even slowed down a little bit, but he was putting in 8,000 calories in his body, but he wasn't swimming as much. So he was only using, let's say he was using 2,000 calories. So what happened to the other 6,000? Well, they got stored. So they became stored potential energy, or stored chemical potential energy, aka fat. So he gained weight. Let me write nicer. Sorry about that. He gained weight, but it's all conservation of energy. He had 8,000 calories going in. He was only using 2,000 calories. So these calories here are going into kinetic energy and thermal energy, your metabolism. So by conservation of energy, the energy going in, the chemical potential energy, was equal to the thermal energy, the heat that's being produced by your body, plus the kinetic energy, your muscles moving and stuff like that. So he maintained that weight. Over here, his chemical potential energy was equal to chemical potential energy stored, plus thermal energy for metabolism, plus kinetic energy. But these two were less than this one. So he ended up gaining weight. If you're going into nutrition or anything like that, this is really the fundamentals of losing weight. Is you want the amount of energy, kinetic energy that you're using, to be greater than the amount of energy you're putting in. So it's kind of, everyone talks about calories in and stuff like that, but it's really a conservation of energy to either maintain, to gain, or to lose weight. So that's an example of Michael Phelps. Let's look at an example of a car. Sorry, a little sad car. You put gas in. Remember we talked about this in the previous video? Gas is chemical potential energy. And you want that gas to be converted to kinetic energy because you want your car to move. So that you want the chemical potential energy to get converted to kinetic energy. But we also know it's also being converted to what reality, chemical potential energy, your gas, is being converted to kinetic energy, the movement of your car, plus thermal energy, the heat in your engine, to counter friction. pistons and so forth. And the older your car is, or the worse you take care of your car, you don't change the oil, don't change the fluids, this number can go up, it gets bigger and bigger, and then your fuel efficiency goes down. So also, a lot of people, when they're just idling, so they're running their car, not moving. I have some neighbors who start their car 20 minutes before they go to work. Even in the heat of the summer, they start their car 20 minutes before they go to work. Now, I'm from West Virginia. Yes, in the wintertime, you had to start your car more and you had to run it because it's so cold. You had to defrost the windows, you had ice on your windows, and so forth. But at 80 degrees, and also with the new oils, what's interesting is you're going through and they would sit there and they idle it. They idle their car, letting it run. So what happens is, as you're just letting your car run, that gas is being converted just to thermal energy, and you're not going anywhere. So I see a lot of times people in front of the grocery store, at Walmart or the mall, they're sitting outside, idling their car, just running their car while they're waiting for somebody else to come back. And they'll let it run for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. And don't get me wrong, I understand that when people do that and they have a child in the car or it's super hot in the sun, I understand the situation. There are exceptions, but when no child's involved, not hot temperatures involved, and you're just sitting there waiting, and because you don't want to turn your car off and you're letting your car run for like 20 minutes, you're actually consuming a lot of gas. And so conservation of energy, that energy that's going in is going to be the energy that's coming out. So we're going to kind of go through and look at all these different types of energies. So let's look at a skateboard rink just kind of as an example here. So those of you that skateboard, we're not going to bend knees or anything like that. We're just going to slide down and go up. So at the very top, you're not moving. So you only have gravitational potential energy. So there's no kinetic energy. Oops, sorry about that. And there's no friction yet because you haven't started moving. As you slide down, this gravitational potential energy is going to decrease because you're getting lower. This is H, so H is going to get lower. Kinetic energy is going to increase because you're going to be moving faster. And thermal energy, the friction is also going to be increasing. So you get to this point here, your gravitational potential energy is equal to 0. Your kinetic energy will be maxed at this point here, and thermal energy will continue to increase. And what happens without bending your knees or kicking or anything like that, you're only going to go up a certain height, and then you're going to come back down and you're going to oscillate back and forth. But we're going to look at this this idea right here. In the next video, I'm going to give you an example where we're going to do some calculations using the conservation of energy and this principle as we go through and look at this situation. Thermal energy kind of plays an interesting role where a lot of times, especially in a textbook type of problem or a classroom setting, we'll ignore friction. But in reality, it plays a major role, and that's why when you skateboard or you're rollerblading and you can't get all the way back up here unless you're bending your knees or something like that.